Welcome, everyone. We
Wow.
are about to talk about some upcoming changes to DECA for 2025. It's an email they published or sent out in mid-October this year. So we're gonna cover some of those things.
Yep. So it seems like the main change here is that there aren't really any age group / open, or there's no difference between the age group and open heats anymore. It's just kind of one thing. So any athlete who competes in anything besides elite is then qualified as an age group athlete, and they're going to be ranked as an age group athlete, which then means that they can qualify for worlds just by signing up for anything other than elite.
Yeah,
And
for age group. Yeah, I'm actually going to read it because it's not very long. So it says in 2025, we will be combining individual age group and open heats into one all-inclusive age group category. This category will be for athletes of all fitness levels and will be seen across DECA Strong, DECA Mile, and DekaFit. With this new consolidated heat type, every single DECA mark earned at every event, including DekaFit, will be a potential DECA World Championship qualifier. Additionally, now every DekaFit athlete has a chance to earn a spot on a podium, whereas previously open heat athletes were excluded.
yeah, I mean, I think this is a good idea because it certainly simplifies things. And yeah, I mean, it just simplifies things because DECAs can be a little confusing. There's already 3 different events. And then among those 3 different events, there's like 15 different ways you can do those between individual, age group, open, team, male, female, co-ed. So anything they can do to simplify things, I think that's a good idea. And yeah, I think it's a good idea overall.
I agree. The last line, it said like, whereas previously open heat athletes were excluded. If you're like someone who's never done DekaFit and you want to do one, you might sign up and you're in good shape. You might sign up for the open heat thinking, oh, I don't know what I'm getting into, but you may put up a great time that's better than one of the top 3 times for someone who competed in the age group category, but you wouldn't have been able to be on the podium even though you had a better time because of that difference in category. So I think it's a good idea. The only thing, and I haven't thought this through yet, but if there aren't waves for age group anymore and there's just waves and you just go whenever you sign up for, or however that time slotting works, what if there are backups? Like what if you're running your higher level, and because you're running with and behind other groups that aren't running at such a fast pace, you like
traffic jams.
Yeah.
Well,
Just like, well, that's why they don't do that at like Spartan events, because if you have backups at obstacles with open wave and before age group or elite, that affects the whole race. It's not competitive anymore because there's a factor that's completely unrelated, limiting people, and so someone might sneak through and get on an obstacle ahead of someone who's faster, but then like it changes the game. So I wonder what is going to happen with backups.
In an ideal world, that wouldn't be an issue because when you're running, the slower people are supposed to stay to the right. Here I am having to think about that. That's not good.
On
The
your
slower
left,
people are supposed to stay to the right. If people do that, then the running aspect won't be an issue. And
right.
they're supposed to release people in a way that there aren't any traffic jams at the different zones. So you shouldn't have to be waiting for a ski erg or dumbbells or whatever. They're supposed to do that anyway. And if it hasn't been an issue yet for either age group or open, then I don't know why it would be now. And I mean, most people who are going to do things competitive anyway are going to think about that, and they're going to try and go earlier. Just like
that's probably
we've all been kind of trained to do that anyway.
That's true. Yeah, as long as the gap times are big enough for any level of athlete, then it should be fine. Hopefully it's not an issue though, because everyone hates that. People don't like having, like everyone is trying to do their best. So if something if there's a backlog and then someone can no longer do their best, that's discouraging. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I think the way you explained it, it probably won't, or hopefully won't. So.
I mean, yeah, as long as everything's structured well, people mind their manners and do what they're supposed to do and not try and block other people in, and as long as they don't release too many people at a time, then it technically shouldn't be an issue. And I mean, your point earlier where you were like, open people can technically qualify for age group, but they didn't because they didn't sign up for the right heat. But that happens with age group to elite all the time. Like, if you look at I remember seeing that at the Fit in Concord this past time. Somebody from an age group category, somebody I know, I can't remember who it was, but they beat my time when I ran elite. It's like, well, I mean, that doesn't like change anything as far as qualifying goes because they were in the age group category. So they placed very well in their age group, but it doesn't affect them for elite. So I mean, that already happens.
Well, yeah, and it shouldn't and can't because they have the dedicated heat for the elite so that they don't get any backups so that they can perform at the highest possible level. So I understand why they wouldn't open it up age group to elite like that, especially with this change, because then you couldn't, because then there wouldn't be any categories at all. It would just be the fastest person makes it, but you wouldn't be able to stop backups. So, but yeah, that does happen a lot, what you mentioned.
I don't think there's a qualification to run elite anymore. I think earlier on there used to be. I remember having to send an email to Deka or Yancey and be like, there used to be for fit to run elite and fit.
Really?
I don't think there is anymore. Yeah, I remember having to send.
I never did that. I've never had to do that.
That must have been last year or the year before, something like that. But
well, it had to be the year before because last year I didn't have to do it.
I know I didn't this year. I guess maybe not last year, but I remember having to email my previous fit time, some of my strong and mile times, just to be like, you know, I deserve to be in the elite for the fit. Which, you know, I mean, they're not doing that anymore, so it's not really relevant or anything, but I can see, I mean, High Rocks does that for some of their major races. For all their major races, you have to qualify for the majors these days.
Yeah. Okay, there's one other change that is pertinent. There are a few others, but they're not really big deals. So it's about the Ruck category. So now there will be, I'll just read it. It says in 2025, we are implementing 2 leaderboard categories for Deka Ruck, age 44 and under, and Ruck Masters, which is age 45 plus. This includes podiums for the top 3 athletes in each category at DekaFit. We look forward to seeing more athletes take on the added challenge of completing Deka Strong, Deka Mile, and DekaFit wearing a weighted ruck or backpack, and we are excited to celebrate even more Ruck athletes on the podium. So really, they just divided the categories in 2, and it will have 2 separate leaderboards. So not a huge change. I guess no, they did say it's for all categories. Yeah, so it's not a huge change, but it is a change. So that's something people can take into account when they're competing next year or for 2025.
I don't think the Ruck has different categories right now. I think it's just Ruck. Like there's not elite or anything.
Well, and it doesn't say anything about elite one either. It just says 44 and under, and Ruck Masters is the 2 separate leaderboards.
Yeah, I think Ruck is small enough still that they don't have to worry about having like an elite or an age group or an open category. You just place how you do, and then they do have elite Ruck for Worlds, I think.
Well, then how does that work?
What?
If there wasn't an elite category, how did they have an elite Ruck championship? Or is it just the best times overall from Ruck?
I think it's just the best.
If there's not a lot of people doing it, then you don't have backlogs, and it is fine to just have anyone at top times.
I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Yeah, that's how it is, because there's not like hundreds and hundreds of people doing it just yet. So,
have you done one?
Not yet. I haven't done a Ruck for any of them.
Yeah. I would like to do it for the DekaFit. I think that would be the most fun.
It would be fun. I just can't get it. past my mind, like going on the skier. Every time you go down, you're gonna have the ruck like hit into the back of your head, or same thing with the burpees.
If you have a decent ruck, like a Go Ruck backpack or something, that shouldn't happen. The burpees, yeah, that might happen, but like the rower and the ski erg and all those, you shouldn't have that issue.
Yeah, I will try it. I will. I just haven't yet.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
All right. Well, those are the two main changes for the 2025 season, at least updated so far for DECA as far as like the rules and categories go.
Here's
So
here's a rumor change that I don't know if it's like official or not, but I've heard.
all right, rumor.
Is that the co-ed teams that they're gonna have the females do the men's weight on the tank. I haven't
Okay.
actually heard that officially, but that's been floated around a little bit. So
That's interesting. And I can see why that would make sense to do, because then you don't have to switch the gears anymore, which would take a lot of like judging error and or mistakes out of the event, because I believe it was last year there were some questions about people switching weights when they were supposed to. So that's not a bad idea. I would actually, like, if you wanted to meet in the middle, you could just have them both do the middle setting, both on 2 instead of 3, so that the women are pushing more weight, but it's not the men's weight and but anyway, whatever. If they make that change, I think that's a good change, no matter what they set it to, as long as it's not everyone doing one, because then you'd have to require, it doesn't matter, whatever.
yeah, I mean,
that'd be cool.
it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's gonna be harder for the females, but it's harder for all the females. So it's not like
Right.
it doesn't matter as long as it makes everything run smoothly. So it doesn't affect me.
It would remove a point of that where failure could happen. So it would be good in that sense.
Yep, that is true.
All right. Well, that's a rumor. Don't take that to heart or go posting that anywhere. I don't know where Luke heard it, but don't spread it around because it's not corroborated yet. But
We'll
all
see.
right, cool. Thanks for listening. Let us know what you think about the changes in the comments, and make sure to just subscribe if you're not already.
All righty. We'll talk to you guys later.
See you later.